G'day fellow flight sims and random YouTubers. Today hopefully this stream might be a bit of a quick one. At the end of the day we all love flight simming, or some of us do anyhow. And I thought I'd just note, this product's been around. We all need a reason to fly, because sometimes you get pretty bored. I mean, just trying to pick one destination or whatever, or doing the same thing. So I want to talk to you about a thing called Neofly, which is this little beauty. And this is a free program. And I've got no complaints about this, because at the end of the day, it's like my wife said, the sex is free, so don't complain. So I've got no complaints about this. It's a great little program. And I discovered it a few years ago, but this is Neofly 4. So they've done great modifications with this. And I've done a couple of flights using this this program, and I'll just have a look. I'll just show you. And if you really like GA flying, I don't think there's any product that because it's free. I think there's not many products on the market that are free and gives you this level of sort of authenticity. So I'll just go through it. Now, just very quickly, you can see up the top here, I'm a cadet, and this is the rank up here. So I've got to get to 1,000 points before I become a senior officer. I'm located now at Gympie because I've done a couple of flights, and I've got $101,000. Now, what you do is when you first load this program or download it, and you start in what they call career mode, what you do is, I'll just show you a log of what actually I did. Good old Elena here. It's important to actually read all this, but this is, you can see, these are the flights that I've done. Now, what I just want to show you, this gives you a rundown on your finances, and you get an initial deposit of $5,000, and you get an aircraft with that called, it's a Cessna 152. Now, I personally don't fly the Cessna 152. I've downloaded some payware aircraft, and so I prefer to fly those rather than the Asobo. And I'll talk about that later. So I basically sold the aircraft for $35,000. And hi mate, how you going? You got the day off or something? So anyhow, I sold it and I got $40,000, and I think, oh, that's all right. But then I had to take out a loan for $50,000, and the reason I did that is because when you rent an aircraft, you have to actually put a deposit down, and you've got to, and you can see here the deposit is $43,000. Plus, you've got to pay for the hire of the aircraft, because I don't have enough money to buy aircraft. Now, if you have a look at here, and you can see here, I'm at Gympie at the moment, and that's basically there. And you can see what's at Gympie at the moment is, and I fly the Piper. You can see here highlighted just flight. I fly the Piper Arrow. So, but that's not available for rent. You can see here, and I haven't got $300,000. So I basically need to work my way up and do quite a lot more flights. And all the rest of the aircraft, well, I don't fly those at all. So with me, I've got, there's a mob called WB Sim, which basically has improved the default Cessna 172. But what I can do here is, if I put in WB, and hit the search button, you can see that the aircraft, these are all aircraft I own and fly. Now, of course, you've got to be careful. I'm not sure if you can see, but you've got the Cessna Skyhawk Asobo WB Sim, and it's got what they call, I've lost the word now, aircraft on the wheels. They've got the protection for the wheel. What do they call that? Anyhow. Oh, you're working from home. Oh, you use it. Yes, I know. I find it fantastic. I knew about it, but I became aware of Neofly 4, and I thought, gee, this is all right for something that's free. So anyhow, and the only one for rent is down here at Theodore. You can see where I am at Gympie. So what I've got to do is I've got to rent that aircraft. So if I hit the old rent button, and now see how you need a deposit, 44,000. So now I've got $44,000, or sorry, I've now rented the aircraft, and this basically tells you everything that's Theodore, all the aircraft. And as you can see, my little beauty is... I did have it. Oh, there it is. Oh, no, not the Xbox. Have I stuffed up? No. Okay. What have I done? Oh, okay, sorry. So I'll go to my hangar. Gee, that Elena looks all right, doesn't she? Anyhow. So I've got my aircraft there. There it is, Cessna 170, and it's got shoes on. There's no pants version with another, the airfoil, what are they called again? Anyhow, now I've got to sign that, and right. Okay, so let's just take it back one. Rent. Hang on. Let's go back. Let's go to Theodore. Okay. I don't know what I've done wrong, but anyhow. Okay, let's take it one step back. Okay, so I'm at Gympie, and these are the aircraft, but I don't fly any of... I do fly this, but I don't want to fly it. I want to fly the Cessna. So I do a search. We delete that, and we do a search. Okay, so we can see that there is no aircraft to rent. Can you believe it? Well, what have I got then? I'm bloody totally confused. What's in me hangar? I've got that. I've rented it. Let's just return just return it. Let's just start again, shall we? Okay, so, right, so, now the only aircraft to rent is that one. Right, so we'll rent it. Okay, the aircraft has been added to your hangar at Theodore. Now, we go to Theodore and bring this aircraft to pilot location. Yes, that's what you got to do. Now, because I'm at Gympie, I can now assign myself to it. Right, now, okay. Gee, that was a pain. Anyhow, so once I've done that, because you've got to remember, you've brought this aircraft in from Theodore, which obviously there's certain costs involved. So now, because I'm in Gympie, I've now assigned myself to that aircraft. And by the way, this green says that I've got Microsoft running. Now, the jobs. And you can see now the different jobs because you're in Gympie and I've put the filters in, you can see the different jobs going from Gympie. So one's going to CTDR, whatever that is. Caloundra, and there's another one going to, and it shows you from Gympie. This one's going to Taroom, and you can see these icons here. So this tells you it's passengers. So you can see here, there's 3 passengers want to go from Gympie to Taroom. There's 3 passengers there that want to go from Gympie down to Caloundra. Okay, so you can see all these icons signify different things. You can see up the top here. So you've got all this as passenger, but you don't have to transport passengers. So obviously, if you look at this one here, and what I do is I just click the distance, and I like to sort of fly about 100 odd kilometres. And you can see, so that's just cargo. So if you go, you can see this is Gympie down to Toowoomba. And now, if you want this, what you've got to do is, once you're in your aircraft, then you load up, and it tells you here, load up by in 2 days' time, 12/29. So it says there it is, there's your job brig, 347. Now, the thing is, you've got to be careful when you load your aircraft. You've got to be careful up the top here when you go into your no, that's for airlines. I don't. Oh, that's another thing. This you've got all sorts of different add-ons, and you can do all sorts of freelance jobs and all. But I like to just do freelance jobs, or jobs that sort of goes from one town to another. And what I try to do is incorporate real world procedures. So if I'm at Gympie, and if we have a look at Gympie, I'll bring up the charts. I put the radio on at 126.7. Now, there are some people that just want to go straight, direct. I try to use real world routes where possible and flight plan accordingly. Now, talking about flight plan, what I use, and there are 2, GA, and I've got Gympie there. So if I want to, so there I am there. So let's say, for example, I want to go down to Caloundra. So if you look at my flight plan, we'll set that as a departure. Let's say I wanted to go take the job down to Caloundra. Set airport, oh no, we go Caloundra, aren't we? Now, you can look at this and you can, export this into you export it into Microsoft Flight Simulator. But when you're flying GA, really you've got to make reference to different features, whether it's a lake or, like, for example, I could make Kululuban Dam as a feature, so I can set that. You can make different features. For example, that would be another one. You're looking for this road here. So now you can make this intersection and another, because I'm flying south, you want to put this on your left-hand side. So the intersection, all this interchange as a significant. So you can see that. So when we fly, you want to make these sort of significant waypoints, or waypoints that are on your plan every 10 to 15 miles. So it gives you like, and you don't want to space them, like, for example, see, this is only 3.8, but we'll take off and we'll try to head down to that waypoint, and then we'll set off. Now, between that waypoint and that waypoint's 11.8 miles, which is good. We could probably even get rid of that waypoint, actually, because 11.8, another 2.9, 15, so that's still good. So you want to be looking for this dam at 15 miles, and then you've got another 19 miles. So ideally you want to have sort of checkpoints somewhere. So we could use we could definitely use this intersection of the Bruce Highway. So you can see that's a bit too, yeah, 11, no, 2.9, we can get rid of that, delete. So we can see, as our flight plan, we're looking for the intersection, then 11.8 miles, you're looking for, no, actually we can get rid of that one, waypoint 2. We can delete that, and we'll make, okay, so 3.0, 14, 10, 9. Yeah, so that's okay. 10 to 15 miles. So I've got to check every 10 to 15 miles, I can check. And I can use Nambour as well. And you can see here down the bottom, it's a VFR point, so I can identify Nambour as well. So that's a pretty good sort of, I can maybe get rid of waypoint 3. We'll delete that, and we'll use Nambour as our, okay, so that would be a valid VFR flight plan. And we know now, obviously we've got to work out, we're going east, so make sure 3,500, and you can see from this elevation here that I'm not going to hit anything. So there we're basically set to fly. So once you load up the aircraft, you've got to make sure your weights are all correct and everything. Are the airspaces in on little nav map? They are, I think, mate. I'll have a look. They might be. You know that in this area you're going to be basically, I mean, I'll have a look at information for Caloundra. Caloundra doesn't have a, yeah, they don't have a tower, so you know it's going to be a CTAF. I remember seeing it actually, Seth, so I'm just trying to figure out which. Yeah, there they are. So let's see Class Charlie. There we go. Actually, that's interesting, Marich. So these are the ICAO. Now, I'm not sure how accurate that is, mate. G'day, boys. How are you, mate? Just talking about this bloody Neofly. And as I was saying, it's as you probably know, it's a free program. And as I was saying before, because it's free, and like my wife says, the sex is free, so don't complain. So, and I think it's a great little program if you want to, well, not that of course, but that there. So yeah, it's a great program if you want to do, just general GA flying. Yeah, no, I'm pretty good, mate. Can't complain. Just enjoying life as us old bastards do. But now, I don't know if you heard the news about me and my ATC. I'm not sure. Probably you haven't heard, Cess, because you're not on the VatPack Discord. But somebody complained about my ATC. Now, could I jump? You're being funny, aren't you, Jacob? Yeah. So anyhow, they complained, and I took basically offence to it because I thought, well, I make mistakes, blah blah blah. Yeah, no, Glenn, SkyVector's good, and ForeFlight, well, that's paid. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, and so they complained. I took issue to it, and I thought, well, and then they wanted me to redo the what is it called? The sweatbox session. Yeah, they wanted me to do sweatbox, and I said, what? I've been doing this for years. Don't get me wrong, I'm by no way perfect, but they've had several complaints, and I thought, well, what does several mean compared to the heaps of other people that have praised me? So yeah, of course I could have done a quick refresher, but the issue is I don't think I needed to. Now, if they think otherwise, well, that's their opinion. And I thought to myself, I like I said, I do mistakes. Like probably, I look at people online and approach controllers, and they do mistakes as well. But do you think I'm going to worry about that? Complaints should always be focused on over. Yeah, hey, listen. My skin is as thick as any other individual. I grew up in an era. What you got to realise, I grew up in an era where when you went to school, you were called a wog. You were made fun of because of the size of the sandwiches. So really, my skin is a lot thicker than a lot of people. Trust me. So I can take criticism like you wouldn't believe. But I didn't think. Yeah, I've still got the rating. Don't worry, I've still got the rating. And yeah, thanks, Sis. Yeah, to me, don't get me wrong. The reason I did it is because I thought, and I made it clear that I make mistakes. So if you're a student on VatPack, their school overrid anything that I ever did. I was there to enjoy, to have a bit of music, to have a bit of a laugh. However, give good control. So now some people can do that and some people can't do that. And don't get me wrong, when you're sort of having a bit of a laugh with talking, streaming, and you listen to a bit of music, well, things are going to happen. And probably you're not going to be 100% focused. And obviously there are going to be mistakes. Hopefully not big mistakes, but mistakes are going to happen. So I would have thought, well, now, see, I think that if you're gonna get someone to redo your re-rating, I would have thought there were obviously blatant errors in what you were doing, and I personally didn't think I was doing controlling where I had blatant errors. Now, if somebody could bring up a video, whatever, of me, just totally not doing the right thing, having these blatant errors in my control, I would have been the first one to put up my hand and said, yeah, shit, maybe I haven't been, up to date with all the latest ATC. Yeah, constructive criticism, exactly. Constructive criticism. So I I said, look, okay, if you want me to do a rating, well, guess what? I'm not going to do it anymore. However, nothing is forever, okay? So let this hot-blooded Italian cool down, and maybe, who knows, in a year or two I might come back. Who knows, I might be enjoying this, because I tell you what, I've done a few flights with this Neofly, and I'm really enjoying it. And there's it's not my face, by the way, I'm much better looking than that. Modesty forbid. And anyhow, so yeah, I enjoy the GA flying, but what I try to do, I know there's another guy, I've seen a couple of videos of Neofly, and one guy starts off on the runway every time, and he just wants to accumulate money. Well, you know, there's a few things on covering sectors, that is, you're extending once, and you said didn't cover a few fields when you did, and a bit of phraseology. Phraseology maybe. Well, now, the thing is, when you said you didn't, well, you've got to look at everything in if you're a VFR pilot, you are in uncontrolled airspace, well, there was no need to talk to me. Now, was it IFR or VFR? So, because most people, I know the rules, and if you're an IFR and you're uncontrolled, yeah, and then of course you need to talk to me, because you get basically traffic information, and you get your score code. And it's pretty easy, and once you get identified, you get a clearance, or you can get a clearance on the ground. It's up to it, you know. So I know the rules. Now, why I said what I said at the time, when, you know, don't need to talk to me or something, so I don't know. I believe it was someone departing from Moorabbin, IFR. Well, I don't have a recollection of that. I'm sure, I know the rules, and I know if it's an IFR Moorabbin, but maybe I looked at his flight plan, because I tell you what, there are a few pilots who file VFR because they don't look at their flight plan properly, and I just look at it and say, no need to talk to me, because I've looked at the flight plan's VFR, when indeed it's IFR. So I think you really need to look at the whole story. But definitely I do cover Moorabbin if someone's... But anyhow, let's not talk about it. Like I said, this Neofly really is fantastic. And I can see myself doing a few videos. Hopefully, what I'd like to do is do a session where, you know, I'm at... where are we? There I am. I'm here at Gympie. And you can see it's VFR conditions. I've got real world weather. So, you know, just hopefully go through and just go through the real world procedures. Yeah, but sure. But guess what? If you're VFR, you call before you enter. It's not up to me. So if I'm, because don't forget, an ATC can tell you, let's say for example, you know, you call up ATC and say, November Foxtrot India, 10 miles from Lake whatever, 4,500, request clearance, FS 2020, mate. Oh, sorry, yeah, but anyhow, getting back to you, Jacob. And don't forget, as me as an ATC, I can tell you to stay outside of stay outside of controlled airspace, or the first thing I do is, because, as you know, VFR don't necessarily have to file the flight plan. I just give you a squawk, identify you, and say you are identified, because I look, you know, let's say Lake whatever, I look and say, okay, yep, you're identified, now you enter controlled airspace. That's a procedure. But the onus is on the pilot to contact the ATC. It's not the other. Yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd probably actually do a bit of a. Actually, talking about this Neofly, can you do multiplayer? Maybe I'm not sure. Anyway, I've only got it, like I said, this is my log, right? I went from Coffs Harbour, because I've got Payware Aircraft, Coffs Harbour. It's fantastic. And I went up to the Gold Coast. I believe the Gold Coast is coming out, I'm not sure. And then from the Gold Coast, I went to Gympie. Oh, by the way, it gives you a rating. Like you say, for example, here, bonus comfort, landing, FPM, bank and pitch, and then this one, stall and overspeed. And I remember here that, I got bonus because I didn't stall or overspeed, and it was the ride was comfortable. So the passengers gave me, and you can see my landing rate here is 139 and 104. So it's not too bad. I like that. Pushing 10 group flight. I like it. It's almost as good as the old what is it? Somebody once said, VATSIM, you're listening to VATSIM 122.8, easy music listening. And I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, I'll probably make a VAT pack event. Make sure that, obviously not everyone's got the comfort like me, and being a retired lazy ass, no good for nothing. You have to make it where we're all free, maybe on a Friday night, or if people go to drinks on a Friday, or Sunday, or not Sunday because you've got the VAT pack, but Saturday afternoon, whatever. I don't know. So you've got to make it so, it's convenient for everyone, because let's face it, we all got a life, and some of us, unfortunately, got wives. No, mate. No, I don't. And that's what I should do, and I should do what Cess does. Not a real world, so don't take my word for it. But I do a lot of reading, and I research a lot of stuff. So I just try and be as, at the end of the day, because I'm not a real world pilot, I can't say for sure, look, everything I say is 100%, but I try to do as much research as possible and get it to sort of almost 100%. But, you're going to have things that you're not totally aware of or whatever. But, no, I've never made I don't know, I just never really made that transition. Because as much as I like doing flight simulator, I did have other passions. My first was snooker back in the day, 30 odd years ago. And then, now recently I've just got into the poker. I do. So, but I enjoy this, I really do. If we can sort of follow real world procedures, Fraser Island VATSIM is close but not spot on, especially with VFR. Yeah, definitely, of course it is. I'll tell you what, if you really want to really know, there's a guy, and I think there's a guy, he flies a Cessna all around Moorabbin. Strip poker. Listen, my wife's just walked in here, and between you and I, yes, darling, no, I've never played strip poker in my life. Honest. She's about to whack me. Honest to God, I've played spin the bottle. But anyhow, what was I talking about? Yeah, no, if we can go do a group flight and just go through real world procedures and, do the CTAF, like for example, I've got Gympie here. This is the facilities so, you've got the only thing you really need to look at, the CTAF 126.7. So we do a bit of a flight. And by the way, what do you think they've got this elevation 260? Any ideas? Why would they bother having elevation of 260? No, I'm drinking it. I've got it right here, but I think it could be the last chai tea she makes for me. But yeah, 260. Because in case you didn't know, I'm sure most of you know, but anyhow, just the reason being is because I'm sitting there gimpy, and I go, well, shit, what's the weather? I can see it's VFR, but what's the one piece of information I really, really need? If I zoom in, oh, by the way, this is WB Sim, and what they've done, they modified the Cessna to make it real, almost like real world. Actually, I'll try to get it, and this is it here, WB Sim, and this is what I bought. About near study level. Now, I worry when they say near study level. Really, what does that mean, near? The only people that I know that you made study level Cessnas, the A2A, and I really, really miss that. That was just spot on. I mean, I know in this thing here, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's all right, but even leaning the mixture, your basic exhaust gas temperature should be going up as you lean, because obviously fuel is a coolant. So, but you know, in this thing here, if you have a look down here, as I lean the mixture, you should see the temperature goes up and up and up while you're flying, and then you use this little dial here and you fly, and when they say you lean your, 50% rich of peak, so you find that marker, or you mark that marker where it's rich, and then you go 50% rich, 50% is it? Rich of peak or something? Yeah. Yeah, but basically what I need to do is, you need to, if I can zoom in here, 260. So what I do is, because I don't know the QNH, because I don't know, so basically what I do, I just set the airport elevation by moving this dial, and there it is there. So my QNH is just about 1019 roughly. That's my QNH. So that's basically what the... Okay, no worries, Seth. Well, I won't be too much longer, because, I mean, how much more can I rabbit on about? I just wanted to make sure about this. It's almost lunchtime too. Yeah, so if we can... and field elevation, yeah, that's right. So that's why it's so important to have that information on hand, because, like I said, it's so important to have, because you don't have anything here that tells you you haven't got AWOS. I mean, some places you ring up AWOS, and you get the information there, but this doesn't have any of that information. So that's how you set your that's why you've got that information up the top. And okay, so really that's all I really need to talk about. If we can, I'll probably I'm not sure what would be a good day, because people, Saturday Arvo, I'll see. What I'll do is I'll do a flight. Or you can just click B. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, yeah, of course. Yep. Yeah, the old D and B. That's exactly right. Oh, that's a cheat's way, mate. Yeah, exactly, the old wink. Yeah, no, that's right. You can click B, and then, like, for example, if I change this, the old keyboard shortcut, there it is, and it brings you. So, yeah, that's fair enough. But listen, mate, we're here to do almost like real world stuff. So that's, that's like I said, for me, it's not about the money, accumulating. I mean, like I said before, there's this guy in America, and I watched a few of his videos, and he starts off on the runway, just takes off, goes like the clappers, goes through controlled airspace, bloody, just to make money. Well, I mean, if that's what excites you, yeah, fair enough. But I'd like to sort of do real world, try to flight plan outside of controlled airspace. I mean, for me, this doesn't really work. If you're going, oh, sorry, where's my hanger? I'm at Gympie. Now, where are the jobs? The jobs are up here. And you can see, let's say, for example, I want to go to, there's the Brisbane Well Camp. Well, if I'm going to go to Brisbane Well Camp, and that everyone knows it's controlled. Actually, Brisbane Well Camp, I don't know. Is that controlled airspace? How do you know women like white chai tea? Hey, you finally caught on to me, haven't you? Hey? Oh, don't start. Are you a man or a woman? Don't. Yeah, that's right, exactly. Imagine the airlines would love to have their airplane magically appear. Yes, yes. Airlines, Qantas, we all know what's going on about Qantas. Now that a woman's taken over, God. No, I'm only joking. There's some fantastic CEOs, and I mean, if it's good enough for Virgin, it's good enough for Qantas. So, but yeah, so like for example, what are we here? This is Taroom. So if I'm going from what is it, 153. So this flight here, straight away, Gympie's uncontrolled, and there's probably a pretty good reason that Taroom, who I've never heard of, is probably. Oh, by the way, this is Bing Maps, and that's another thing to do. If you go down settings, you've got to go through this stuff. Now, I'm not going to go through it, but you've got to get a Bing Map key, and that brings in that brings all this stuff in too. So that's another thing. But there's Taroom. So I'll guarantee you that's probably CTAF as well. So yeah, or you could do a flight. Now we all know CTAF procedures, but if you want to go to, I don't know, Palmer's Island, Yamba Airport, wherever that is. Oh, okay, down here. So now that's another thing. See, now that there, straight away you do your CTAF. If you want to be VFR, you need to go, and probably you're going to be going into controlled airspace, so you'd probably need to, if you want to, you need to fly out. Personally, I like to not go through controlled airspace. Sometimes you can't, but that for me wouldn't be the route I'd be flying. I'd be VFR, and I'd be flying out here outside of controlled, and make sure to have a look to see where the controlled air steps are, and flying under the controlled air step. So, but I mean, there's no point flying from point A to point B, have this on your GPS, and that's it. For me, that doesn't mean anything. I like to do it sort of more real world, and there's no way in God's earth a little Cessna 172 is going to be flying through Brisbane airspace like that. If anything, you probably head out this way, depending on what runway is active at Brisbane. You probably head either that way or inland. And these are things I like to talk about once we okay, El Dingo. Yeah, I've heard of it. I've seen it, but I don't know if I've got it or not. Hang on. I'll have a look here. This is Orbex, and then I've got Contrail as well. This is the other stuff. So basically those El Dingo. Actually, I'll have a look at that. Yeah, so for me, there's no point doing this thing. Oh, look, and I've made $5,000 and gone straight through Brisbane. So I've said it before many times. Flight sim is to many things to different people. You know, you can either do that and think, oh yeah, okay, but to me, what have you accomplished? That you can sit in a plane, and to me, I like to make it as real world as possible. I'm looking at my Orbix store, Oceania, Aldinga. Hang on, where's the free stuff? Utilities, sounds, Asia. Who makes Aldinga? Ayers Rock. Orbix doesn't have it. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I was seeing. Okay. All right. Okay, I haven't got that. You would have thought, because this is what maybe they'll do it on Contrail. Well, I've gone past. Wait, well, these days for me, it's probably the only quickie. Yeah, okay. Have a quickie with the missus. Banging on autopilot. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm looking at Contrail as well. I don't know if Contrail deals with Oz scenes. I'm not sure. No, they wouldn't, would they? Where are we? Discover, maybe. Search. Adventure Tours Australia. Ah, okay. We could make our own adventure tours. Let's go. Yes. Oh, look at that. Shit. Oh, Fly Tampa, yep. Okay. Actually, that's one day I want to fly into. I want to fly into Mykonos. I bought the 737. I got parafield. Airports. No. Okay. All right. We know that they don't have it. Okay. I've got to go to Aussie. But yeah. So anyhow, like you said, there's different Oz scenes. Okay. China. Yeah. TT. If you want America, you're covered. Yeah. But no, like I said, I love this program. And like I said, it gives you a reason to fly. And if you want to get into, like for example, you can get into airlines and manage staff, and probably so you can hire pilots. Yeah, okay. But it depends on what you want to achieve. If you want to make, $40 million and buy big aircrafts and all that, well, that's fine too. That's good. Good on you. But yeah, there we go. Create and run your own airline. Orbix is updating products. Yes, I know. Canberra, I think. So that's it, really. Yeah, you too, mate. Yeah, Yeah, my missus is, I can smell my lunch cooking up or being heated up. So anyhow, let's see if we can get a group flight happening. And like I said, enjoy the journey. Until next time, I guess. Take it easy and be kind to your neighbours. All right.